And we're live. We have a new person to introduce you today. Her name is Maico Hockhouse. Why don't you introduce yourself, Maico?
Hi, my name is Maico Hockhouse. Oh my God. What's next?
Why don't you introduce Maico?
So this is Maico Hockhouse. She just got her black belt with us. She started about 4.5 years ago. She brought her 3 triplet girls and her exciting young son, William. So we're going to give her the floor. She's going to tell us how she got involved and a little bit about yourself.
Yes. Yeah, around 5 years ago, I signed up for my kids.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So they walked in the door.
Yeah.
And what happened next?
Yeah, I was looking for some kind of exercising some stuff for kids' discipline or health something, and we live so close to here. And so anyway, I signed up, and like when I was watching you guys, the way you guys taught, or how much they're excited.
Did you expect for Will to become like an MMA fighter, man?
No, never. I wouldn't. No, I couldn't have.
Do you remember that one picture of him where he was like bowing and looking up, and he was just a little white belt?
Yeah.
And now he's trained every single day.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool to see how you guys kind of like went into different paths, but all did it together as a group. And that's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about with the podcast today, is how being a family actually affects and helps everyone's martial art. Where if you're just doing it by yourself, a lot of times it's a lonely road, and especially if you don't have a group of friends that are at the studio with you, you can fall out of it. But being a family, like how many times did you have one of your kids want to quit, or how many times did you want to quit?
100.
And they
Me?
switched.
Never.
Oh, yeah? You never wanted to quit?
Never. I love it.
That's good. And then every single one of them at some point wanted to quit, but then they all ended up finding and following back into it because the rest of the family was there. You know what I mean? And I think it's really cool how, Will got a little bit more into the striking, the kids got into the forms, and then you got into Tai Chi.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And how each of you guys are switching off with that. Like, what have you seen with all that?
Interesting, actually. Yeah.
They've been switching off. I mean, all of them except for Will really kind of wanted to leave.
Yeah.
And because they were a family structure, they kept supporting each other. And I think one of them left for a while, and I think when she was gone for a month and a half, I think she actually felt a little slighted.
Right.
Like they were doing something positive, and it was easy for her to come back because her family was there.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Inspire
and they've
each
been doing
other.
great. You guys, it's amazing that the family structure can really work with martial arts.
Yeah.
Because of the getting the water together, one's down, the other one's up, and you're a perfect example of the way it should be with families.
What?
Yeah, and you did have lessons in Japan, right? You were taking Shotokan.
Oh yes, I was taking karate lesson. So about 5 years ago, I signed up for the kids, and I was looking at you guys, and then my kids. It looked really same as I learned back in Japan, same as karate, the taekwondo you guys taught, and it actually inspired me to. I missed the training, and it looks so much fun to me. Not just only exercising physically, but you guys has been teaching discipline, politeness, a lot of kind of mental stuff too, not as well as the physical. When you think of martial arts, people would just think only physical, right? But actually, you have to be strong mentally to keep going, because again, it's not easy, it's hard. Sometimes the kids has a lot of homeworks. They want to have, play date with friends. They want to rest. They want to be lazy. They don't want to come to training. And, wait, where was I? So anyway, I got into the lesson that you guys provided my kids looked so much fun, both mentally and physically. So I decided to sign up exactly 1 year later. So 4 years ago, I started Taekwondo.
So,
Yeah, no.
So I was going to say, one of your children got you excited about Tai Chi. You probably would never have gotten into Tai Chi. So what I
Exactly.
want to say about Maiko, she got really good at Tai Chi because she found something that she might not have found if it wasn't for her young. I think Jasmine was about 7 or 8, and she wanted to do Tai Chi, so that got Maiko to do it. And now Maiko's teaching at a couple resorts, retirement resorts in Scottsdale. So it's amazing how it evolved, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's really unexpected.
And you know, that's one of the things that I kind of see as families that train together. All of the families that we've had who have done it as a team, they all end up becoming instructors or leaders in their own way. I mean, look at the fact, because you guys have all had to motivate each other and go through different times, you guys know now how to influence and help other students. So like if you think you're teaching, Will's an instructor, the triplets are coming in and helping him with classes. How is it that all 5 of the family that's coming in is now helping and training as a group? It's cool to see how that ends up working. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like that's one of the benefits that I really find with doing it as a family. And you know, growing up with you.
Yeah.
It's like you're not allowed to be a lazy. If you got the rest of the family going, and what are you going to be
you
the
guys
one
have
like?
a lot of responsibilities.
Well, and another thing that happens with families too, I mean, we have the ones that just kind of drop the child off, and they really don't get the full value of what their children are learning.
Yeah.
So there's the extreme of it's an activity for them, they come in, and we all know going to get our black belt and beyond, there has to be support from a family member or somebody, an inspiration, like you always provide inspiration with all your students coming in and our students. And if you're not doing it as a family and you're dropping them off, they're missing out on a great opportunity for their child to even progress and maybe even bring them in. So,
Yeah, you guys are really good at supporting us
Thank you.
and giving us a lot of inspirations, and yeah.
Well, I feel like it helps refine the techniques and the things that you learn as well, because I always find that if I learn a new combo or I learn a new technique and then I teach it, now I've refined it and made it even better. So if you have a family, if you're a child or a teenager who's able to go home and then have family members who actually care about what you learned in class, you can then talk to them about it, and without even having to train it, through talking to your family, refine the techniques even more and refine the lessons. Like, I never really got into school unless like my mom would talk to me about it. You know what I mean? Like, she's a meteorologist, and because of that, when I was going through science and everything and I would learn something about that, I would always go to her, and we would have these long drives where we would talk about it for hours. And because of that, science became my favorite subject in school.
Wow.
And if she wasn't into that, that might have been another subject where I was just like, I don't really care. But when you're able to go home and explain it to your family and find that community based off of it, then you're just going to excel in ways that you never would have believed before.
That's true.
You know? And then you being able to do that, now when you come back to class, you've refined the techniques even more, and then you're able to show that off, and then you become a leader. And I think that that's one of the reasons why all 5 of the people that started in the studio with your family, all of them are excelling. There's not a single one of them that's having a hard time in the studio. And I think that's because they're all working together as a unit. So one comes down, all 4 of them bring each other back up.
Ah,
So it's like, how can you not be part of that then?
yeah.
And like, I've almost never seen it where, you know, a couple members of the family start and then the rest of them don't follow suit. You know what I mean? Like, it always ends up becoming a team with it, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you just brought up a good point with your mom, and she was passionate about schooling, and she just gave that to you instead of saying, you know, go play your video game or something. I mean, so as a family and as a parent, it's real important to have some structure in your own life and some passion, like, you know, your stepfather and Adam. And I mean, look how he's evolved and how that's even changed your life and our life and KMA now.
Yeah.
And that was just because of a good, strong family structure and being together. And that's the part, I think, that martial arts will help families, especially as a young age, getting involved. and you see it with some of the other parents that join karate
Yeah.
with us, just to, or martial arts,
Right.
to get involved, because they can see it. They see how you teach. They see how I teach. They see William. They see Michael and her 3 girls.
Yeah.
And they're like, wow, this is something powerful.
Right.
Especially as we're going through this, the world's kind of crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
And we need to have some training to deal with the emotional, the mental, and the physical challenges.
Yeah. And that bond you end up creating too. I mean, think about with you and me, how much time would we have missed out if you and I weren't into some of the same things?
Right.
If we weren't trained together and teaching together and playing music together, how much time do you and I spend besides that a lot of times?
Yeah, you were bringing up how the family, like when you're 80% or 90% of the time you're with your parents,
Yeah.
is only at a certain age.
Yeah, so
what is that? Bring that up.
I was seeing this thing where the majority of the time you're ever going to spend with your parents is over once you're a teenager. So think about this, like all the time that you spend with your child as you're growing up with them, they see you every day. And even when they get to that teenage era that everyone goes to and they're like, I don't like you and this and this, they're still seeing you every day.
Yes.
But what happens when they either go to a different college or start finding their own life and they see you 2 weeks a year? Let's say that happens for 40 years until one of the parents passes away. They're only spending 80 weeks. You know what I mean? What, that 52 weeks in a year?
Yeah.
That's 1 year.
Yeah, that's pretty
spend,
short. Yeah,
they spent that same amount of time with you between 6.5 and 8 that they'll spend with you possibly from 18 till the end. So once that time is passed, even past the martial arts side of it, if there's not a community structure built in the family where you guys are doing things as a team, you end up losing that opportunity. Time ends up going so fast that you miss it, you know?
Oh, I'm so glad I signed up for myself too.
Yeah.
Having same goal. As you said, William loves MMA and I love Tai Chi as well as Taekwondo.
Yeah.
But training in the same place, learning from same teachers, different field, but same martial arts. And I'm so lucky to have something that I can do with my kids.
Absolutely.
I'm so lucky.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I signed up 4 years ago, which I didn't realize until now, until you told me how short, our life will be with the kids. How short?
No, you're right. And then like
I don't sound good.
No, you sound great, Michael. Like, think about how much he lights up when he goes to show you a combo. Like, I see him, like, you could see it in his face, you know what I mean? And then think if you guys didn't have that. Think if you weren't into the martial arts at all, and you were one of those parents who were like, okay, I'm going to drop you off, and you're done. And then he was like, Mom, I want to show you this combo you learned. And you're like, nah, show the instructors there. Not only would that be bad for your guys' bond, but it would be bad for his mental development. Whenever a child or a family member can be excited to show somebody something, that's when they grow.
Yeah, they want to share and more.
And not cutting down those things. You know?
Well, when I met Grandmaster Jun Rhee, you were just, let's see, that was like 2020. So you were just 2.5, 3 years old. Maybe it was 2021. I said, what's the best way to raise a child? What's your opinion? Because, I think he was a great man. He passed away, unfortunately. But he said, lead by example.
Yeah.
He says, you lead by example, never fail to correct your child without a smile. So you should smile. And then the third one is lead by example. So he was all about having families train together. I mean, he taught the Congress. He got the Congress to train together because he felt that if the Congress were the Democrats and the Republicans trained together, they would, and you always say this too, they would know what it's like to do some sparring with each other. There's a whole level of respect. And when you're training together like that, I mean, you have a bond built. So he really had it figured out.
Yeah.
And that's...
There's a level of trust and respect that you get if you guys are throwing punches at each other and you're kind of in the fire with that person. If you don't trust and respect each other, then someone gets hurt. So you develop that over time, I love that lead by example.
Me too.
Yeah.
He often talk about it. Yeah. at the end of the taekwondo class, lead by example.
Yeah, how are you going to expect for one of your kids to like do all this stuff and like you have to go every single day and then they come home and see their parent not doing anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right?
Right,
And
exactly.
getting back to having the families right?
Yeah.
Let's go back to the original.
Yeah.
Why are we here again today? What was the original?
Why you just train as a family?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope I'm showing good example to them.
Oh, you're showing
I
great.
come here every day, right? To
And you teach. That's a big thing to be able to
Arigato.
show that to people. I mean, that's incredible. It's scary.
You guys, yeah.
Well, here's another thing. The martial arts has, I mean, we all want to be better people, and there's certain, tenets of Taekwondo and not lying and just really try to develop ourselves to be a more compassionate individual, friendlier. But he once said, which it hit home with me. He says, parents want their children to not lie. And he kept saying to, he heard this one father, he was at the house, I want you to not lie anymore. I want you to have trust or, be trustworthy. And the phone rings. And the son said, hey, Mr. whatever his name was, and he goes, tell him I'm not home. And Jun Ri, yelled at him, right? He says, you need to do Taekwondo too, because, but there it is with the example.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So we don't, but see, the thing is, we don't realize that. We don't realize that because a lot of times if we're not training martial arts, we're not seeing it day to day. And that's, a big benefit of training as a family.
Yeah.
As a parent, it's fun and honor to see kids' growth.
Yeah.
And I can see all of my kids are growing stronger physically, of course, and mentally, and more confident. Especially William, kind of leadership. He has leadership skill. My girls are dedicated too. Sometimes lazy, but
But they can't be too lazy because the rest of them are going, you know what I mean?
exactly.
They're looking at you right now like you're throwing them.
Oh my God. What is mommy talking about? I make them to come here.
Well,
Discipline.
She's 99 pounds. How tall are you?
Huh?
How tall are you?
5'2".
But man, when she points the finger at them, I see
it's
it, man.
intense, man.
Yeah.
I've had a couple times where you've done the
Choto.
choto on me.
Yes. You guys told me how to.
One part of it too is really the community. I mean, I've seen and I've actually had so many different walks of life in here, and as I go through my life, having all these walks of life at my fingertips sometimes, man, it altered my life. I mean, I met this one, I met this person, everything from a car dealer to get an automobile to, doctors to psychologists. And that's another part when the family's together, there's something that they all are in tune together and the same influences are there. And I have a lot of respect for pretty much most martial arts studios. Kind of carry that same, be respectful and be kind and you want to help people, right? And that's it. So
Well, I believe the whole thing with a family is it's a team more than anything. So if
that's a good word, yeah.
Team. Yeah.
it's all a team, and if you're a team in here, you can be a team at home, and you can build as a family physically, mentally, and depending on what you believe in spiritually as a group, and be able to tackle different things as a team.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I think we're out of time. I hope everyone enjoyed the podcast. We definitely have to have you back on again, Michael. I had a great time.
Oh my God, I don't know.
We're going to be posting this every single week. We're going to have a new podcast. If you guys enjoy it, please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. I'll see you guys next week. Later.
ありがとう